people, I just finished this video and it's gonna get dark. It's gonna start light and we're gonna go all the way down to the abyss. So this is not for the faint of heart. All right, if you are, click off this video because we're gonna go deep into dark psychology. All right, people, this video is gonna be very interesting. I want to say this first. Just because a man desires you, or worse, lusts after you, does not mean he values you. A man who's filled with lust is pretty much a sexual crackhead. He does not see you. It's like people who you do drugs with. You're not really their friends. You're just users. And as soon as one stops being addicted, you guys stop being friends, right? And so a lot of men use sex as their self-esteem, meaning when I feel down, I want some poom poom. And usually you'll know that they'll use you because usually you can see the disease because a lot of times they might be porn addicts. So, and let me tell you something, religion doesn't change it. Because a lot of Christians, a lot of Muslims are addicted to porn. So don't think that fucking Bob the Christian or Muhammad the noble Muslim is free from this. This is the tricky part about things, right? But the good thing about it is that men are transparent in many ways. You can see it in the eyes, what they look at when they look at you. You know, how they behave when I was watching. The problem is that women think that men fool them into sex. In reality, it's women, unfortunately, with low self-esteem, who never had guidance from a father or chose not to because she resented the father, that it causes her to be voluntarily blind to those red flags because she's also addicted, emotionally addicted to the validation you get from superficial desire. So we're going to talk about that today, okay? It's going to be really interesting. And don't forget, get this free ebook, people, because not only do you get this free ebook about how to make them chase, it's an audio book actually, you also get the chapter from a hot and cold formula, and you guys can sign up to my newsletter. We just sent a newsletter yesterday. It was really fun. Those newsletters are short, and I'm also going to include like a Friday night interesting like dump, meaning like I'm gonna send you guys what I found interesting videos, interesting quotes. So it's gonna be like my summary of the week for you guys. So if you guys want to keep in touch with Father Alex and even know when I'm gonna have seminars, just sign up to my email list. I'm not gonna sell you aggressively. The only thing I'm gonna do is give you guys lesson, and just like in this channel, at the end of it, promote my courses and stuff like that. So it's not gonna be aggressive, okay? So you guys are gonna get a realistic expectation being on that. It's gonna be really fun. So I really do hope you guys check it out, because if not, we all know what I'm capable of doing to the channel. All right, so let's begin. So the link is on the description down below where it says get your free gift. So the first thing is that men see sex as a mirror of his childhood. Men's sexual motives, a lot of the times, let's make this bigger because, you know, let's make it bigger, okay? Sorry about this. Let's see if we can make it bigger because it's a little bit too little. There you go. All right. Okay, there you go. Men's sexual motives are shaped by how they were raised. Insecure men, for example, use sex as proof of their self-worth because most likely maybe they were raised with also insecure men, right? Insecurity runs in families a lot of the times. And you can see insecurity by just the dynamics of the family. If you see a lot of broken homes with no fathers, no mothers, death in the family, a lot of addictions, family secrets, we all know what that is. All of those things create dysfunction that becomes expressed in how a man views sex. And when the rush fades, because remember, low self-esteem, you feel bad about yourself, and so you want to use sex to make yourself feel better. A lot of times you'll see it because of who they admire. They'll admire rappers. They'll admire men who also hypersexualize women. But when the rush fades away, they cheat, which is like the rappers, right? They cheat and chase new women to feel alive again. So these are the guys that start fast, but cheat on you eventually. And if you're addicted to emotional validation, you're gonna fall for that. Secure men, on the other hand, see sex as a way to bond. Maybe they learned it from their fathers. Like a man sees sex depending on how the father sees sex. It's plain and simple. If the father wasn't there, then they'll start to look for fake fathers in Andrew Tate or maybe Father Alex. Remember the old father. This is reformed Father Alex people, okay? And so they'll look for fictional figures online, and usually those guys are toxic, right? Not as a way to score points. So they see sex as a bond. And honestly, those are the guys in long-term relationships. Porn or sex addicts though treat sex like porn. They want to recreate what they've seen in movies, so they go with hardcore sex. They'll like try to pressure you to do that kind of stuff. You're just a body to them, a tool of their fantasy. And usually, if you stay with those guys long enough, you'll end up hating men. That's just a fact. You're gonna end up hating them. They see sex as a drug. For many men, sex is just a hit of validation. By the way, my newsletters. This was a newsletter I was gonna send you guys. My newsletters are like this. They're like quick. I don't go too deep. You know, I don't want to overwhelm you guys. But they're just short and straight to the point. So sign up for that newsletter, man. Father Alex is so excited. For many men, sex is just a hit, a way to escape pain, boredom, loneliness, and that's why a lot of guys got into porn addiction and OnlyFans models during the pandemic. Why? Because they were lonely, and so they were willing to get into that hole of addiction with porn. Me, I don't watch porn no more, honestly. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I deleted all my porn. Like, oh my God, Father Alex had porn. Yeah, I delete. Man, I like cameras, right? I deleted it. I deleted it because it was corrupting my mind, honestly. Like, it affected my relationships. And it wasn't fair for those girls to have to deal with me, you know? But it's true. When it's over, the emptiness comes back. Right? Once they get the sex, once they do that thing, the emptiness comes back. That's why some men get cold or distant after sleeping with you. The drug wears off and they're chasing the next high. And just like a lot of women say, then you get depressed post-sex. And that becomes very frustrating. The biological urge versus an emotional bond. Young men especially see sex as a physical urge. Right? Because evolutionarily, the body just wants to procreate because most guys would have died in their early 20s or even in their late teens. It's like scratching an itch. It's funny, when you go to meditation retreats, the first thing, the thing that happens the most is that you think about sex a lot in meditation retreats. Like, everyone is horny in meditation retreats. Mature men can connect sex to love, though. And usually those mature men, you can see it in their lives. They know how to spend money. Right? And usually, a man's how they see sex a lot of times is really correlated also with how they spend money, because money has an emotional quality. If they don't know how to control their money, how the fuck do you think they can control their dizzy? But not all men get there though, because they're following bad examples from rappers, Dr. Umar, all that kind of stuff. Some stay stuck in that primitive state. A lot of the times because of trauma. A lot of these kids get abused as children. And so they get stuck in that. And also, kids who get abused, boys who get abused early, they become hypersexual because that part of their brain should not be activated. You gotta understand, the brain works in scales. There's certain things, connection with their family, connecting with their friends, connecting with themselves, and then at the end is sex, which is the peak of maturity. What happens is that if you activate the sex too early, everything else gets fucked up. Like, the brain has a sequence, and if you activate the sex through porn, oh God, I feel bad for younger women. Holy shit. Through porn or sexual abuse, they're almost the same to the brain. You're activating that sexual part. They become obsessive about it. And they start to fantasize, because children are really good at fantasizing. They'll start to fantasize and desire it at an early age, and they'll stop emphasizing connecting with their friends. So young men especially see sex as a sexual urge. Context changes everything though. Men who start as friends with sex are more patient. They wait longer. So that means men who meet you online are like caveman, faster, cruder, and more entitled, right? Or even if you're a stripper and you fall in love with your customer, that guy is not, it's not gonna happen. Context matters how you meet a guy. Because when you meet him online, the first interaction he has is the visual. Even though in real life he sees a visual, but there's also more physical interactions. He's listening to you, talking to you, so you're more humanized. It's more objectified with online, and so they treat you that way. So that's why I prefer women to meet people in real life. Sex blinds them. Sex shuts off a man's critical thinking, his capacity to see your red flags. Yeah, that's right, you. He'll ignore your red flags just to have access to you. And a lot of these women become entitled because men don't put them in their place. That's a fact. He'll ignore your red flags just to keep access to you. This is why sleeping with a man too soon, I don't want to say this. Mother Alex, say it, stop being an asshole. Okay, all right. This is why some women use early sex as a way to manipulate a guy. Because he can't see through the manipulations. He can't see through the manipulations. And so some women use that. Escorts use that. Strippers use that to get money. Sugar babies use that to get money out of men. It's a but usually it's not every guy. It's usually the suckers. The guy who never got played. The guy with low self-esteem. And so they'll lead with money. You know, men who value don't overhype sex. When a man takes you seriously, sex becomes a part of the relationship, but not the whole thing. They could be with you without having crazy sex. It naturally slows down over time. That's natural. It's called acclimating, motherfuckers. And that's a sign that he's comfortable. And not a sign that he's losing interest. Like, the sex will go down eventually. Right? But a man who's hypersexualized, who watches porn a lot and is addicted to sex, who cheats a lot, who has low self-esteem, will find this to be intolerable. And so they'll find somebody else. Sex becomes a status for them. Again, for me, the perfect example is rappers. Rappers are so fucking toxic, man. I remember there was a rap, I still remember this. There was a rapper that said, if people say sex is overrated, that means you're doing it wrong. Some men see sex as a scoreboard. These are the men that when they have sex, they'll tell everyone. They collect women just to prove something to themselves, to other men. Honestly, that was me. I never did it to prove it to other people. I did it to prove it to myself. Because I couldn't understand, what the fuck? I'm not ugly. Why are women not liking me? Yeah, that's true. That's actually true, man. You know? They may not even know if they like you because they confuse lust for actual liking. The problem is that those parts in their brains are fucking mangled. They shouldn't be mangled, but they are. Because rather than receiving the love of their parents, the validation of their family because they never received it, they started seeking validation in porn and in sex. And so they confuse those wiring where they shouldn't be together. Or maybe they should be a little bit more separate. And so these are the guys that would date the trophy wives, like Floyd Mayweather. Look at his life. He has a bunch of strippers around him, or even Tekashi 6ix9ine. Look at his life. They have an emotional connection with sex, and this gets dirty. Research shows lonely men often prefer unprotected sex. I like to think there's a correlation between a man's self-esteem and how many times that dude got shit. You know, how many times that dude got things down there, you know? How infected that motherfucker was. Not because they're reckless, but because it feels more intimate. Unprotected sex feels like you're intimate with the woman. And it makes you feel closer to her, but only for the moment. A lot of these guys are avoidant. And so because they can't connect with the emotional, they try to connect with the physical. So what are some strategies for you guys? Go slow. Spot these horny motherfuckers out. It raises your value and filters out the ones that only want that quick hit. Don't attach too fast. Oxytocin will make you bond with him more than he bonds with you. So be careful with quick sex. Crazy that I'm telling you that. No, you guys know I'm not faking this shit, man, because you guys know the shit that I used to say a few years ago was kind of belligerent. I don't say shit because I want to please you guys. I think you guys. I think if you watch my channel, you know that anytime I say something, it's real because I've said things that made people unsubscribe in the past, but because I was being honest. And now I'm being honest with you guys. I'm not lying about this. I really do believe this now. Use it as leverage. All the, it's because of Shira fans. Nah, Shira doesn't say have sex. Okay, my fault. Post-sex vulnerability can make a man chase harder if you control the pace. Right? Now, let me see if there's anything else that I missed out on this because this was the chaos. Right? And this is why I tell you guys, go for guys who had a good family. It's not gonna guarantee it all the time. It's not gonna guarantee it, right? Look, I think nowadays we have to accept some loss in the culture. More people are more sex addicted than before because of just loneliness. The more lonely a guy is, the more addicted he'll be to sex. Especially powerful men. Powerful men, if you date a powerful guy, it's even worse. Those powerful guys, powerful, like the powerful. Those guys it gets really creepy because the more power a man has, the younger they prefer. Like the more power is a lot of times equates with pedophilia. And also, this gets crazy. The more sex addicted a guy is, it gets creepy, right? Because sex addiction at its peak, at the end of sex addiction, is pedophilia. At the end of it, that if you keep going down those rabbit holes, you're gonna get to the illegal. You're gonna get to violence. So pedophilia, violence, dehumanization, just complete recklessness. You know, and when you get into that dark realm, those guys, those are the most depressed and darkest guys. Those are the types of guys that will break condoms on purpose. Those are the types of guys that will do crazy shit to you. And the signs are there. Oh, this got dark. Oh, it got dark. It got dark. And I'm telling you, the only way those guys get saved is some type of spiritual experience, people. That's the only way. Go into Sexaholics Anonymous, because by yourself, the traumas are so intense. You know? It's not all of them, though. I'm not going to generalize, right? But go look at the studies. Just go look at the studies. Just Google that. Honestly, it'll get deeper once you start doing crack, meth with it, cocaine, like, you know. But that's not all of them, right? So we're not going to generalize. We're not going to generalize in this video, right? Because some people just stay addicted to porn, and that's it, right? Some people just stay addicted to unprotected sex. That's true. It really does depend on the self-esteem, and you can tell that. And usually the ones that go that far are the ones with personality disorders. They may have narcissistic, bipolarism, psychopathics, sociopaths, right? The ones without self-awareness, because the only way to escape these cycles is self-awareness. So there's no hope if they're narcissistic. There's no hope. Absolutely no hope. It's best you find somebody else. A lot of times they die young anyways, man. Yeah, dude, that's crazy. Isn't that insane, man? That's crazy, man. When I was doing research for this, I was like, God damn, this is dark as shit, man. Like, and rarely ever talks about this. Rarely ever talks about this. Like, if you go watch Catch a Predator, a lot of those Catch a Predator motherfuckers started with porn. You know, and again, I'm gonna emphasize this. It's a very small percentage. I mean, think about it, man. If it was a high percentage, then a bunch of people would be in prison, right? Like, because they could track you for that. So it's a very small percentage, and I have to say that because I don't want to demonize men. I don't want to make generalizations, because it's not fair for for people to make those types of statements, man. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this. This video got dark. Holy shit, man. It got dark, man. Like, it got real at the end. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, check out your free book, people. My birthday's coming soon, September 11th, man. Let me give you guys a gift. Yeah, Father Alex, for his birthday, wants to give you guys a gift. I'm going to New York City soon. Man, I should have done something for you guys for my birthday in New York City. But hey, man, I don't plan things out that well. Anyways, you guys be safe. Bye-bye. One last point. Sex addicted men, actually, they overuse sex as a selfish thing. And you'll notice because they just put no effort in pleasing you. It's all about them. And usually that happens because of porn. Again, I'm generalizing. It's not all men. I'm just going to be honest. It's not all men. You have guys that are sex addicted that like to please, right? Like, let's be honest, right? But anytime you see selfishness in the bedroom, a lot of the times comes from living in the fantasy world of porn. So, and a lot of the times, again, you might see, unfortunately, abuse in childhood. And you see this a lot more in third world countries. The more third world the country is, the more abuse. So you might find these types of men to be more in just third world countries, man. Like in Africa, you see that shit a lot because a lot of kids in Africa, unfortunately, right? South America, you might see that a lot. And where do you think has the most prostitution? You might see that a lot in you know what I'm saying? Like, again, I say this with a lot of love, and a lot of compassion. I'm not making this video to demonize anyone. It's a sad thing. And if you guys see men from this perspective, maybe we can understand men's selfishness from a more compassionate point of view, because a lot of women understand a man's selfishness from a resentful point of view. And that just makes you into them because you literally are reflecting that. You're reacting to that. And it's not good. Only the love of God, only connecting with a higher power through meditation or through any religion. I don't care. You could be a Buddhist. You could be a Hindu. You could be Islam, Christian. Just connect with a higher power. That's the only way to heal from that. You know? Man, I was going to go deep into man, I'm just thinking right now, like how also most like, yeah, we could talk about that later, man. Anyways, you guys be safe.